After successful propagation of rhizome and carpeting plants, it was time for me to make the next step and work on the best method to multiply stem plants. And I think the best way to do it is to start from the plant that is my nemesis, Hygrophila Pinnatifida, plant that hates me, my tanks, and especially my water. And to make it even worse, I will give myself few disadvantages. But why am I torturing myself? Well, of course for your entertainment, but there are also other reasons. Let me explain. Before we start, I just wanted to let you know that this video is the result of many requests coming directly from you. I really do listen to your comments, so if you want me to test anything else, please share in the comments, because I have the possibility to do it for you. And second thing is that I'm giving myself a bit of disadvantages because this is a test and preparation for much bigger plant experiment, so stay tuned because it's coming. So the first disadvantage is the plant itself. Hygrophila Pinnatifida was always problematic for me. It just doesn't like my water parameters, my tanks, and doesn't grow that well for me. I had one tank when it was doing fantastic, but in other projects it was struggling. And this is why I think it's good to test how well it will propagate in my tap water. If I can do it with that plant, I can do it with anything. Second disadvantage is this. I will start from in vitro plant, not from potted version. This means that my starting plant is very small and fragile. And on top of this, it's not exactly the best quality. But my suffering is your entertainment, so let's get to work. I'm starting from preparing those plants. Because they are in vitro, they are placed in this nutrient-rich gel that needs to be cleaned off. And after I was done, look how many leaves were left. They are melted and rotted and simply broke off. You see, this is exactly what I meant when I said they are not the best quality. It's just horrible. But in the end, I was able to get 4 plants that we can work with. They are really small and they don't look that good. But I think this should give us exactly the answer we are looking for. Can we propagate from this? To do it, we will use one of these. It's a great container for plant propagation, because it's fully transparent and has transparent lid. And those are exactly the qualities we are looking for. If you don't have that, you can use dedicated propagation box or clean food containers. As long as they are transparent and have proper size, you should be good. Next thing I will use are these. Yes, those are old used plant pots. I always save them because they are very handy for my plant projects. If plant producers are using them and charging us like crazy, we can do it too. Next thing are those clay rings. Those are again leftovers from my old plants. Those rings are just weights to make those pots a little bit more stable. And final ingredient is this. This is just a common filter floss. It's super cheap and should work great as growth medium for our plants. I'm cutting it into small pieces, just like you see on the video. Their size corresponds to the height of our pots. You will see in a second why. So this is our starting point. 4 small plants that are close to death, 4 pots with clay rings that I saved from my old plants, and few pieces of filter floss. So yes, you guessed correctly, we will transfer our beaten up in vitro plants into great and healthy potted plants. You know, I mean in theory. Let's not jump to conclusions because it still needs to work. But anyway, now I will take one of those plants and gently roll it inside my filter floss to create something like that. Next, I can just place it in my pot. Doesn't it look great already? It looks just like a potted plant for which you would have to pay good money. You know, apart from the size, quality and health. I'm repeating the process for all my starting plants. And after I'm done, we get this. 4 plant pots that will be a start of our plant factory. Now I can place them in my container. As you can see, it's tall enough to give them some space to grow. It's important to remember about that part. Finally, I'm pouring some water into it. Water level is important here, so make sure that you can almost reach the top of your pots, but not too high. Plants themselves should not be underwater, but their roots should be fully submerged. See, this is what we are aiming at. Our plants will need some food source to grow, so now I'm adding few drops of liquid fertilizer. Finally, our container can be closed and placed under light source. It will keep the humidity inside, so you shouldn't be worried. I will put it right next to my other propagation boxes under very cheap LED. Now I have to wait few weeks, but you only have to wait few seconds. And here we are only 3 weeks later. What an amazing change! Our success rate is 100% and all plants survived and are doing just great. And what's the most important, there are some side shoots growing out of them already. I will show you in a second why this is so important. There is some algae on the container, but this is not the problem, because there isn't any on the plants. This is exactly the point of growing them this way. Look at the comparison. This is such a great progress. But I want to grow them a little bit more before the next crucial step. So I will see you in a second. And additional 2 weeks later, they look just epic. It's so cool to see the progress so fast. And look at them. Look how green they got. I think I'm ready for the second phase, an actual propagation. You see, what we are doing now is just growing them. Yes, the results, they are spectacular, but still, it's not propagation. Propagation is coming now. Because of that, I will switch my container to something bigger and taller. I'm expecting that I will need more space. And this one should be enough. And now, check this out. This plant, for example, has great looking runner on the side. This is exactly why I waited this additional time. And same here. And on this one. Those are the plants that we can use for further propagation. So now I will split them. Just like that. The original plant goes back to the box, and those small runners will end up in their own separate plant pot. I will repeat the same trick with plant pots and filter floss. I'm taking those runners and doing exactly what I did with in vitro plants few weeks back. This way, I end up with 7 pots instead of just 4 that I had from the beginning. And this is propagation. So next I'm including water, just like last time, some fertilizer, and we are ready. I will close them and put them under the same light. They already look okay. Those in the middle are obviously smaller, but growth speed should speed up. And I have a good feeling about all of them. Okay, oops. You can probably tell already, but I think I overdid it this time. Oh my god! Look at this! This box was not big enough. I wasn't expecting that. Honestly, I neglected it a little bit and left it unattended for too long. But usually those propagation experiments are much slower. They started to grow almost horizontally because they got so big that they just couldn't fit in there. There was no space for them. In some places they even started to block the light to lower parts of the plants. But that's fine. Apart from few leaves, those plants look unbelievable. Look from when we started and where we are now. And that's not even the best part. This is. Look closely at those side shoots. There are at least 4-5 separate plants on each of them. You wouldn't get it in underwater conditions. Not that fast, not that many. When I was examining closely, I saw 14 tiny new plants coming from a single pot. And we should have around 50 in total. 50. And guess what? I will run another experiment with them. It will be a separate project, slightly different, so subscribe if you don't want to miss this one. But I can tell you already, it should be epic. But coming back to the current results, I wanted to show you one last thing. This is the difference between the original plant from in vitro and the one that I planted later from those runners. This is one of the 3 pots created in the middle of the experiment. It does make perfect sense, of course, but I'm showing you this so you know what to expect regarding growth speed. So now what you can do is use like half of them in your tank and use the rest for further propagation and keep growing them basically forever. The only thing I would suggest is use the bigger box. What a result! I already have few more projects waiting to be released, including one that took me 18 months. So consider subscribing if you don't want to miss it. And like I said, if you want me to propagate something else, please share in the comments. I can totally do that for you. I do listen and make videos on demand. And at least 3 new propagation videos are coming quite soon. Please leave a like if you like this one. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.